Good evening to you. Thanks very much for your time. Why do you think it's safe to open up a school of little ones who probably are not going to want to social distance, not going to want to wear masks, and are still coming to grips with how to wash their hands?
Thanks for having us on your show tonight, Sally. I think for me the most important thing is to turn to science, and the scientists all tell us that the youngest among us are probably the safest. The regulations and the recommended standards of practice that the Department of Social Development has put out don't really require children under the age of 6 to wear masks all the time. It's actually really quite easy to teach young children to wash their hands. You can do it in a fun way. I really do think that if we just focus on everyday health, life skills, things that young children are perfectly capable of learning and doing, they will be fine. Science tells us that young children have a very low risk possibility, and really they need to be back in school. They need education.
Why are these early years so crucial? Because a lot of people are going, you know, my little one can miss a year of school at this age. It's when they get older that's the real problem.
I have to disagree. Most of your brain development happens in the first 6 years of life. It's critical in terms of language development, in terms of social skills development, in terms of your physical development. So many of your foundational skills are laid in those first 6 years. Some scientists, researchers believe that almost 80% of your brain capacity is wired up in those first 6 years. And there's also the reality that for many children, when we miss those opportunities that present themselves in the first 6 years, your brain just simply doesn't develop them. So we're setting ourselves up for so many problems the longer we delay this. And I think even more critical are children in impoverished areas that rely on their ECD centers to provide them with nutrition and good food. Dr. Glenda Gray has publicly stated that she's seeing malnutrition cases for the first time in years coming back in the age of children who are being deprived of going back to their ECD centers.
So what is the early childhood development sector going to do? I understand that it falls under social development. It's not actually under education at this stage. So how do you petition to open up for the under fives?
We have been working so hard with DSD on different task teams, contributing to the development of the SOPs. At this stage, all that we need is a date. We have been pushing hard. Many ECD centers that I've spoken to, not only Montessori schools, but many ECD centers have said they have no choice but to open on Monday. Unless they can open their ECD centers, they simply will never open again. You know, many ECDs are privately run, and they are 4 months down the line. Parents need to go back to work. It puts parents in such a difficult position because they have nowhere safe to leave their children. So ECDs that I'm speaking to have said they have to risk just opening and getting into big trouble, which is just an unfair position, because they are ready, they are compliant with the safety regulations that the Department of Social Development has put out, and there's really a sense of desperation around employment of the sector, which is predominantly made up of women. So people are stuck between a rock and a hard place.
They are indeed. And thank you very much for sharing your insights with us this evening, Samantha Streak from the South African Montessori Association.